The fight for faith now, it's a story we've been following. The city of Houston accused of ordering pastors to turn over their sermons. And now following major outcry, the city is revisiting their demand and requesting all speeches be handed over instead.
But will this amended motion make a difference? Here to react is one of the people at the center of this, a pastor being subpoenaed, the Reverend Dave Welch and Kerri Kupec of the Alliance Defending Freedom. And so, Pastor, you weren't aware that it was illegal to criticize your mayor in Houston?
Well, we certainly weren't when we started this process. We were just engaging in our First Amendment rights to oppose a city ordinance that we thought was wrong and then move forward from there.
Well, Kerri, let's take a look at the mayor's tweet. She said, if the 5 pastors use pulpits for politics, their sermons are fair game. And now it's not the sermons, it's the speeches. So is this their way of shifting things around for PR purposes and still getting what they want?
It's total political shenanigans. They are still demanding that these pastors turn over 17 different types of communication. Those are emails, those are speeches, those are presentations, private text messages between them and their parishioners. The city is sending an absolute message to these pastors. If you speak up, we will make you pay.
I hope you're not going to comply with this, are you, Pastor?
No, of course not. And again, I want to clarify that nobody's afraid of making those sermons public, and of course every pastor loves to do that. We're not going to yield or bow to the sword of government demanding and violating our First Amendment rights, however.
Well, is this something that you feel like pastors across the country, not just there in Texas, need to be speaking out against? I mean, you felt like there was a problem with having these gender-neutral bathrooms, which would allow men to go into women's restrooms, and now you're being punished for taking a stance on that?
Well, that's actually right. But, you know, one of the critical point here is, too, that this is all results of the basic voting rights of the citizens being violated because we turned in more than double the amount of signatures required to put this on a referendum vote. And the city attorney is the one who basically committed a crime and stepped in and interfered with that, which required us to sue them. That's why we're here now.
I just want to put on the screen for any of our viewers who were under the impression we were still living in America, the subpoena that you received. This is what you got from the city. You are required to produce the following records. All documents or communications in your possession referring to any of the following: the topic of equal rights, civil rights, homosexuality, or gender identity. And then it goes on to say anything having to do with the mayor, Anise Parker. So what happens if you don't respond to this, if you ignore their demand for your personal and public communications?
Well, Perry, I'm sure, can speak to some of the, the legal issues on that better. But we certainly know that we are not going to yield our rights, and we're standing resolute on this. And we're very encouraged by the outpouring from all over the country. But I'll tell you, the 5 pastors who basically were picked on, but we represent hundreds of pastors, and these 5 are incredible leaders, and there's no wavering on this at all.
All right, Kerri, we'll get you to speak to the legal side of this. What's next?
Well, we're going to continue to ask these pastors to speak out and exercise their constitutionally protected rights, because no pastor should be punished by the government simply for speaking out. And like Pastor Welch mentioned, 2 of these 5 pastors actually escaped regimes in Vietnam and Cuba, coming here because they wanted religious freedom. They wanted that opportunity to speak. So for this to be happening here on our soil to these pastors is particularly tragic.
Yeah, crushing individuals in the name of equal rights. So if there's ever a time for civil disobedience, strikes me this might be it. Thanks, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.